welcome back to Within Pages. So, it's been a hot minute. I did film a couple of videos prior to this one, but I don't know, have you ever recorded something and you're just like, it's okay, and you try and figure out different ways to, put it together, but you really just can't figure it out? That's kind of like what that was. But this is pretty much going to be my April, wrap-up, and I'm just going to go over the books that I did read, and did I enjoy them, did I not enjoy them, so just things like that. So I'm going to start off with the first one, and that would be Millennium Snow. So this one I have mentioned several times before, but just to give a brief thing, pretty much the main character, Chiyuki, 17 years old, is pretty much not going to make it. She's been sick since she was a kid, so she's constantly having heart issues. She's had several heart attacks at this point, and each and every time it just seems like she ain't going to make it. So pretty much the doctors are just prepping her because they're yeah, this is the end. This time you're legit gonna not make it. So this manga pretty much hits the ground running. She's just looking out the window one night and she's like, what's that? Why is there a person on the roof? Sees the person, jumps, freaks out, and she runs out the hospital. Again, you have heart conditions. I don't think you should be running, especially not in, no, just don't do it. You're just moving the clock forward. She does so anyway, pretty much finds him lying on the ground. And she's just like, oh wow, he's pretty. And dead, probably dead. And all of a sudden this bat comes in and he's just like, I brought you food, master. And she's freaking out. She's like, what? Why is there a bat talking? Suffice it to say, the guy kind of stirs and he just starts eating all the food in this box and he gets his energy back. And there's this snarky back and forth where she's just like, what are you, how is it that you jumped from up high and you're still fine despite me finding you on the ground? And he's just like, you're really asking these really dumb questions, hello, handsome gent, talking bat, what in the world do you think we are? And he pretty much spells it out for her, and he's like, I'm a vampire. He pretty much just jumps, he just and he just flies away, and it's really weird. And she has his shoe, he kind of left it behind. We're talking a little bit of a Cinderella thing. He pretty much comes back for his shoe, and there's this back and forth of, how is it that you're walking in the sunlight? I thought vampires couldn't do that. And he's like, that's something we evolved from a long time ago. You gotta catch up with the times. She pulls out a garlic clove, and he freaks the heck out because he's not that involved. And pretty much takes the shoe, passes out. And then the bat comes back, and he's just like, life is so stressful for me because I have to constantly figure out when he's going to collapse. And the reason he's collapsing a lot due to lack of energy is because he has yet to find a partner. So in this world, a vampire finding a partner is not only seen as normal in their society, but it also helps them live a full life. So they can live anywhere between 800 to 1,000 years. That's a super small number. Normally it's to infinity and beyond, but I guess not in this story. But pretty much, he won't be able to live a full and healthy life without finding himself a partner. He'll be collapsing all the time, and quality of living's down here. So she pretty much gives him a request. And she's like, I'm legit dying. You can live forever. We can both benefit from this. Make me your partner. He flips the heck out, and he's just like, how can you ask me of that? Shame on you. And this altercation back and forth gets to the point where it stresses Chiyuki so much, and she just collapses. Toya pretty much brings her back to the hospital, finds out about her condition, and pretty much sets up the entire plot for what I think is just going to be the rest of the series. The plot being, I want to live. You can live forever. How is it that we can come together so that we can pretty much mutually benefit from this? He doesn't want her to pretty much live forever and see people around her, pass. Because if you're going to be living for 1,000 years, you're definitely going to see a body count. So I thoroughly enjoyed this manga. I thought that it was really good. And it's by the creators of another anime and manga series that I like a lot, which is Ouran High School Host Club. And I think it's really good. It kept up with pacing. I don't really have any complaints on it. I think the only thing that is kind of would be towards the later part of the book where they introduce a love rifle. And I'm just like, why? It's only volume 1 and you're already introducing a love rifle. I understand why, but like, can't we just like save that for volume 2 or 3? But whatever. Creator of my favorite manga series, or in High School Host Club, they probably know exactly what it is they're doing. But yeah, that's pretty much the first one. If I have to give Millennium Snow a rating, I would say that it's a 4 out of 5. I think it was a pretty solid start to a series. Again, I just feel like it was way too early to introduce a love rival. Like, let the characters kind of build off of each other, develop a rapport, a friendship. Like, they need a base to work off of, and then toss in this weird love interest. But yeah, that's my grade for this. So, second manga that I read in the month of April would be False Memories. So, this BL is actually really cute. I wouldn't say that it's like on my top 10 of favorites, but it was a pretty good read. I am missing volumes, so I don't have the entire story. So anything that I say during this very brief review is just like about the first one. So pretty much it stars with Nakano and Suda, and pretty much they come together on a project. So they both work for a toy company. One does the artistic part, and the other one just makes the entire thing happen. So manufacture, artistic style, etc. You find out later, however, that they actually have a lot of history together. Pretty much, they used to be kind of a thing back in high school, and due to a big misunderstanding, they both drifted apart, and pretty much Nakano just disappears one day after school, and Suda just never sees him again. So pretty much it's them just getting back together for this project, trying to work past the differences because it has been a decade since they've seen each other. So how to come back together after such a intense breakup, and you get hints and like little nudges and clues in the direction as to why it is things happen, and we see them in the form of flashbacks, and there's just a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of cute moments in it, but honestly, I don't know if I have a lot to say on this one. It's your pretty basic BL tropes. Guy basically, Suda's like trying to really get back to, win his heart or whatever, and Nakano's just not having any of it. He's just like the angry gay, and he's just like, I don't want to talk to you, and you kind of have to. You're working together. And Suda is like the clueless gay, and he's just like, but why? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I thought we were on good terms, and this and that and that. So, back and forth. It's really cute, the moments when they're designing the actual toys and things like that. But because of their misunderstanding and the things that happened in the past between them, it just throws so many monkey wrenches. Like, you have a really good duo here, and they just can't seem to make it work. There are some things in this particular manga volume that I'm just like, probably not the best. There are moments where one kisses the other without their permission, and it's supposed to be this romantic gesture, and I guess for some people it is. It's just, I would be highly upset if somebody just tried to smooch me, and I'm just like, whoa, wait a moment. 1, no. 2, no. And 3, heck no. And it's just like, it's just some things in BL tropes that just don't age well. But I also have to suspend my disbelief and just be like, this is just a dramatic world, so, take it with a grain of salt. But overall, I thought it was okay. I do need to read the following volume just so I could get the entire story, but if I had to give this a grade, I think this would be like a 3 out of 5. Like, it was okay. It's definitely not the worst thing that I've read before, but that's okay. Alright, so the next one that I'm going to be reviewing is Alice, the 101st. So this is definitely one of my favorites. I do have all of the volumes that were translated into English. However, for the longest time, I thought the series was canceled. Like, I couldn't find anything anywhere. Only to find out that the translating company that had the rights, Doki Doki, they're just no longer existing. So that's the reason why I've never seen volume 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. I found out that there are some people that do have the original Japanese versions of these manga, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I like the story so much. I'm gonna probably start learning how to read in kanji, and that's just going to be an entire journey in and of itself. Learning a new language is just like so. It's just like right here, and you're just like, hmm. So time for me to hit the books. Gonna get me some beginner how to read, how to write, how to speak in Japanese, and yeah. So pretty much, like I mentioned a whole bunch of times, because I've talked about this quite a bit, like I think like 3 times already. Um, the main character Alice is pretty much accepted into this elite musical school, and the big thing about his arrival is the fact that they only ever accept 100 students a semester, a school year, or something along those lines. And he happens to be the 101st, which is, the namesake of the title. But pretty much gets into the school, and he's like, "Yay, I'm finally here, Grandpa. I fulfilled your dying wish of me going to this school for whatever reason you wanted me to." So he arrives at the school, and he sees one of the students play, and it's like chef's kiss. Everybody's just like in awe, clapping. They're just like, "Oh my gosh, this is like the new thing ever." But the main character, and again, this is the part that makes me laugh. Alice's name really isn't Alice. Actual name is Aristide Lang, or Aristide Lang. It's just like this really fanciful name. He pretty much thinks the technique and everything's perfectly there, but the sound is hollow. There's just like the heart and emotion of the music itself is missing. And while he's saying this, he's overheard by another student in the school, who we later find out his name is Victor, and their introduction to one another is just like not okay. So he pretty much starts flirting with Alice, and he's just like, "You're so pretty," and then Alice is like, "Okay, I just gotta tell you right now, I'm a guy. I may not look like a guy, like super masculine buff, but he's just like, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I would know what my sex is." And he's just like touching Alice on the chest to see if he has any breast, unfortunately. And then comes to feel, and it's not at his butt. It's like, and Alice proceeds to then punch the snot out of him and run away. And he's like, "Mom, I knew it. You were right. The city's full of weird people." But anyways, bottom line, this manga is about Alice trying to navigate through school and try to figure out what it is that, why is he there? For himself personally, why are you there? Alice is extremely talented at playing, and there's an entrance examination where you have to play a very difficult piece in order to be accepted into the school. And Alice passed it with flying colors. The biggest issue is that Alice lacks the basics, reading the notes and translating them into his violin, trying to keep up with the tempo of certain things. It's just like the bare basic minimums that you need for any skill that you actually want to start off with. It's just not there. So Alice to me is like one of those people that play off the ear, like you can hear something and then just play it. So it's pretty much Alice just trying to navigate through the entire thing, figure out why he's there personally. It's a big cast of colorful characters. Compared to the other 2 mangas that I just discussed, this one actually has like a full cast. So you have Alice, you have Victor, you have Alice's roommate, Theo, who is like super sweet. He's like a cinnamon bun. And then you have Claire, who's just like literally smacking everybody with her big cello case. You have the rivals, Maximilian, who has the technical skills of a genius, but is lacking that emotional depth. And then you have the worst character in the manga. I cannot stand him. Yeah, his name's Richard, and he's literally going around harassing everybody. "Oh, well, my father taught me how to play the thing, and we come in from a big fancy line of musicians." And you're just like, dude, you're 14 years old. Sit your ass down. Relax. All of y'all made it to the same exact school, but you're walking around thinking that you're Miss Peacock. Like, cannot stand Richie. He's annoying. But other than that, I do have the rest of the manga volumes that were translated into English. And if all goes well, I'm probably going to get the entire set, all in Japanese. It's going to cost me a pretty penny, but I do want the story. I want to see the story finish. But that means I also have to pick up Japanese school books and learn how to read and write. And I'm just like, all because I want to see how the story goes. The struggles of a book reader. I can't. Alright, so next we have Warm Bodies. And I've talked about this quite a bit before. And the book did not disappoint. I am beyond impressed. So I read this several years ago, so I'm talking like way back when, dinosaurs existed and, yeah, whatever. It does have a movie adaptation, and I did say a little bit earlier that I was going to compare the two. I'm probably still going to do it. I'm not exactly sure when or even how. But the book itself, I have to like give it its props. Like it was really good. So it pretty much starts off with the main character. His name is R, and he's pretty much just living his best life, or not life, because he's dead. He's a zombie. Like it's literally he's just like looking and just like so he's pretty much living his best on life, and you're pretty much hearing for the good chunk of the story his inner monologue. So he can't necessarily speak because, again, he's not alive. So he's pretty much introducing us to the world that is the world now. Pretty much it's like apocalyptic time. So it starts off at an airport, and he talks about how every single person around him, well, dead person around him, is all like him, but not like him. We pretty much get clued in that he's a very special case. Not only is he able to form his thoughts a bit more than other people, but he can also express himself verbally if he really puts his effort into it. And he's just going through one of those phases, like, is this really all life is about? How is it that we got here? Was it a war? Was it a disease? Was what happened? So pretty much one day he goes out for food because, they get hungry, they gotta eat them brains. He goes out with his entire group of friends, and they pretty much just like waddle their way over to the city and eventually find a group of people. So this group of people that they find, they're actually from one of the last existing human civilizations in our story. So pretty much the entire world is, it's pretty much implied, was taken over by zombies, and nobody really knows where they came from. But human civilization, as we know, is just about that. So this last group of settlers are pretty much scouring different cities and neighborhoods, all in search of resources, medicine, food, safe places so that they can continue to expand their outer borders, get more land, and then be able to just start, like to keep going with planting crops, making brand new buildings and areas so that they could be, to get a semblance of normal again. And unfortunately, that does not happen. R and the group of zombies arrived, and they pretty much eat a good amount of those people. And he falls for this girl, Julie, and it's just like this really weird interaction because he's just like, and she's looking at him like, please don't eat me, do not eat me. And it's just like this weird thing, so he pretty much smears some of his juices, his blood, I don't know, his dead stuff on her, and pretty much drags her back to the airport where he and the rest of the zombies are at. And the book pretty much builds up with this budding friendship that turns into something more, and trying to figure out how is it that, with their encounter, with their friendship, that everything within R and the people around him is starting to reignite this taste and zest for life that they've been lacking for who knows how long. It's just there, and it's like building up. And the big issue with that is, in this society of zombies, you have a hierarchy. You have the regular zombies here, and then you have what is called the bonies. They are the ones that pretty much just gave up entirely. When you're a zombie and it's, you give up, like there's just nothing left in you. They literally peel apart their skin, their flesh, their meat off the bone, and they become more feral. They become much more violent. They are what you call the elders or the government officials of the zombies. And they pretty much organize everything from weddings, which is really funny, zombie weddings, to zombie adoption. And they just want to maintain the status quo. But with everything that's changing around them, they're just like, nah, we gotta stop this, we gotta snuff it out. If we didn't get a happy ending, you guys are definitely not getting a happy ending. So honestly, the book was wonderful. If I have to give it a rating, And again, ratings are all subjective. Like, it's just my opinion. I've seen the reviews for this book, and it's just like, haha, and pfft. So, my opinion, I give Warm Bodies a 5 star, so 5 out of 5. I thought it was wonderful, and then to my very big surprise, I found out that there was a sequel and a prequel, and I think a potential other book. I'm not exactly sure, which I promptly got. So, I got them here. I am so happy to continue the entire story. Thank you, Pango. Thank you, person I bought it from. I so appreciate it. I needed the story. Like, don't get me wrong, the story had a good beginning, good ending, good middle, but I just wanted more. Like, call me selfish. Call me selfish. Like, it's whatever. So, next one that I read was Heartstoppers Volume 2. So, this, just like the first one, it's like cavities to the teeth with the amount of sweetness that there is. So, where do I even begin? Like, I really don't want to spoil these books, but I just don't know how else to, I just don't know how else to talk about it. So it picks up right where we left off on volume 1. So pretty much Nick and Charlie just had their first kiss, which I was just like, oh my god, I can't even. Definitely a lot more bravery than me. Like, I was always like the chicken. I'm just like, oh no, here it comes. I hope that it comes. And then I'm like, no, don't. They just like literally go for it, picks up right where it left off. So, make a long story short, volume 2 is pretty much all about the discovery and getting to be comfortable within yourself in terms of your sexuality. So, this pretty much follows Nick and his coming to terms with his sexuality and what that means for both him and Charlie. And, Charlie is like beyond understanding. He's just like, don't worry, you don't need to figure it out right now. Just, do what you need to do your self discovery, etc. Nick is appreciative of it, but at the same time, he wants to give more. He wants to make it official tissue. And he's just like, if anybody deserves it, it's him. So this is pretty much navigating what it is that they are to each other. Can they be boyfriends? Dealing with overprotective friends in Charlie's case who just want him to be safe, and they're just like, well, you're straight. Like, how can you possibly not think that this is confusing for Charlie? And Nick is just like, but I'm not. I have feelings for Charlie, but I just haven't been really upfront about it. So this pressure to be ready and come out before you're ready to. And then you have to deal with the bullying on top of that, where this one character is throwing, like, slurs and stereotypes at Charlie just because, just because they can, unfortunately. Freedom of speech is like a thing. So it's just like all of this, and then at the very end, the big scene that pretty much solidifies everything in book 2. I can't. If I had to give this anything, once again, just like Heartstoppers 1, I give this a 5. Like, it was thoroughly enjoyable. The story, Alice Osman knows exactly where she wants to go with this series. She has the beginning, the middle, the end, and everything in between that builds upon itself with with the previous books. So I'm extremely happy about it. I'm just like, I can't. It's just like, so unfortunately, I do need to address the other book. I, once again, did not get to finish the Mortal Instruments City of Glass. I don't know exactly where it's at. It's like somewhere over there. I started it. It's just a hot mess. But that is definitely a book that is going to be dragged on to the TBR in May, which I will get to in just a bit. Like, you'll see that in the next video. But overall, I'm super happy I managed to get through 5 different reading materials, and I'm just like you did it. Like, you surpassed 2 and 3. So I'm super happy about that. If you did like the video, leave a like, a comment, or subscribe, and feel free to let me know, like, have you read any of these books? Are you excited to read them? Or even just let me know what it is that you're reading. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye! So one thing I forgot to do, and I always forget this, when I'm talking about a book, it is so helpful to mention the author of the book. So I'm gonna start from the same order that I did before and just like catch up. So Millennium Snow is written by Bisco Hattori. False Memories is written by Isuka Natsume. But one thing I forgot to mention, the saucy scenes. They weren't so saucy, so I was kind of disappointed. I was just like, I wanted the sauce. And I was just like, where is it? And when I saw it, I was just like, oh, okay. It's okay. But that's just me. Then you have Alice 101, written by Chigusa Kawai. And again, sorry if I'm like butchering these names. I am an English speaker and Spanish speaker by nature. So if I pronounce things wrong, I'm so sorry. Then you have Warm Bodies, and that would be Isaac Marian. And then last but not least, we have Heartstopper, which is by Alice Osman.